Hello, world. Hello, world, and welcome to the Shannon Joy Show. We're broadcasting live from the Joy Virtual Studio right here in the beautiful Finger Lakes region of New York State. It is so good to be with all of you today. We're live on Rumble, live on Twitter, live on Spreely TV, Roku TV, Apple TV. We are live on YouTube. We are live on Facebook, Instagram, Substack, and of course, we are live on TikTok as well. Big growing audience on TikTok, and we love to welcome all of the new viewers. It's great to be with you all today. It is Tuesday, June 9th, and we have a big show for you today. You see the headline, The Great MAGA Divide and the End, please Jesus, of Uniparty Politics. I'm going to interview Owen Shroyer on the independent political movement that is growing, everything that Tom Massey is doing, everything that Ro Khanna is doing, everything that we saw go down in Iowa with the amazing victory of a common sense guy, Zach Lane, historic victory in Iowa in the governor's primary. This is all happening because there is a new and growing independent movement in the United States of America. And it is primarily under the age of 65. So we're talking about Gen X, Gen Z, millennials, Zoomers, whatever comes after that. It's a growing group of disaffected and unattached Americans who are throwing away the Uniparty system, left and right. And Owen Shroyer is one of the fastest growing independent commentators on the scene today. And he's very famous for very courageously leaving a prominent and lucrative position at Infowars under Alex Jones in 2025 after being labeled too negative and too anti-Trump. Owen Shroyer was criticizing Donald Trump at the height of his popularity, at the height of Trump humping, when everyone was on cloud nine. They were drinking the Donald Trump Kool-Aid. He had won a second term. He was coming in January. And Owen Shroyer was telling the truth about a lot of things and a lot of topics. And that got him in trouble over at Infowars. So he left. He quit very publicly and subsequently launched his own independent platform, which features his daily show, The Owen Report, Monday through Friday, 3 hours, which is pretty impressive to me. I'm not surprised, though, because Owen Shroyer is an old radio guy. And I'm an old radio girl, only I'm about 10, 15 years older than Owen. And so he had his roots in AM radio and is really just a great presenter, very funny, very interesting. And he serves this fast-growing movement of young independents. And when I say young, I'm really not that young. It's under 65, who are sick and tired of the Uniparty politics, fake news, rolling psyops, and the general absurdity of American life today, the gaslighting, the war forevermore, the crushing of our liberty, the insanity at the White House. We're going to talk a little bit about the UFC on the front lawn of the White House. It's absurd. It's trashy. It's without decorum. It's a mockery of our system and our institutions. And oh, by the way, it just might be illegal and highly immoral as well. We're going to look at that today on the SJ show. We're going to bring Owen in just about, and I think, 1 p.m. is when I have him slated. And so I'm going to bring him in at some point. So I'm keeping an eye on the studio. And then we're going to interview Owen for the full hour. So we're going to go from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Started a little bit late because Owen is he's on Central Time, I believe, and I'm on Eastern Time. So it's just a little bit different today, but I think we're going to be able to make it all work. Owen is going to be, I can't wait. I have a lot of questions for him. A lot of questions for Owen. Coming up this week, a big, we have, I want to say 6 straight shows with unbelievable guests coming up this week and next. Tomorrow, I have Dr. Joe Sansone. He is a psychologist, psychotherapist, and we're going to be talking about the United States of America and the political cults that drive this country and that drive the markets and politics and culture in the United States of America and how we can shed those cults. There are cults on the right and on the left. And Dr. Joe Sansone wrote a great piece. It's linked in the show notes of today's show on mass media facilitated political cults. He is looking at the politics of the day and applying his expertise in this area. In fact, he just wrote an amazing book, which I'm going to be helping him to promote, Psychopathic Authoritarianism, a Disease of the Soul. And this is what James Thorpe, another guest on the Shannon Joy Show, who I just absolutely adore, had to say about the book. He said, it's a revelation of the psychology and spiritual forces driving modern politics and authoritarianism. Through the vantage point of history, psychology, politics, and human behavior, Dr. Sansone reveals how fear, conformity, narcissism, psychopathy, and social control repeatedly emerge to adversely affect civilizations throughout world history. So we are seeing that play out in the US today and across the globe. And we're going to be talking with Dr. Joe Sansone about that tomorrow. Very important show. And he's hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. I just love Dr. Joe Sansone. He's such a gem. Ansley Brown is with us. She is battling data centers as we see the build out of data centers across the country. Local groups are standing up, speaking back, revolting, and smashing them back. And Ansley Brown is doing that in the great state of Georgia. She'll be with me on Thursday. Ed Dowd joins me on Friday to talk about the craziness in the markets, what's happening with SpaceX and OpenAI, the $1 trillion valuations, right? The IPOs incoming, fast-tracked, the removal of the guardrails that protect Americans' pensions and 401ks and retirement accounts as the vultures circle with the aim to plunder, the pump and dump, the rug pull that is incoming, the AI bubble that we've been talking about for 2 years on the Shannon Joy Show here. Ed Dowd, former BlackRock fund investor, brilliant analyst, and one of the best medical freedom warriors and truth tellers during the dark days of lockdown. He's been a regular guest on the Shannon Joy Show, and we are going to welcome him on Friday. Do not miss that show. It's the #1 story in the United States of America that no one is covering. They are about to come after your retirement, your 401k, and your pension and dump these worthless companies, worthless AI companies that haven't made a profit in 5 years, that are bleeding, hemorrhaging money, right? They're worthless. They're about to crater. They're going to get $1 trillion valuations. Donald Trump's going to allow them onto the public index, and it's going to put your retirement at risk. We're going to be talking with Ed Dowd on Friday about all of that. Then next week, we have Kristen Megan and Tammy Clark, another show on the data centers and how dangerous they are to humans. Amazing experts there. And then one of our faves, Tiffany Cianci, is going to be with us next week. I'm also working on Daniel Horowitz. He's like the busiest of all of them. I have to stalk Daniel Horowitz in order to get him on my show, but I'm very persistent, as you all know. And so, yeah, as I mentioned, the most courageous, brilliant, expert guests in the country and the world are on the Shannon Joy Show every single day on all different topics. So that's going to dominate the next 6, 7, 8 shows here on the Shannon Joy Show. Lots to talk about. If you're watching right now on Rumble or YouTube or Substack or Twitter or TikTok, please take a moment and give this show a thumbs up, a like, or a share, especially those of you who are watching on Rumble right now. We can usually double the audience, sometimes triple the audience. If you guys give this show a thumbs up, you follow the Shannon Joy Show so you never miss a live, and make sure you're getting active on those live chats. Say hello. If you haven't said hello on the live chat, I want to say hi to all of you. And make sure you leave comments as well. This works on every platform, whether you're watching on Twitter, Facebook, Substack, X, you name it. When you guys are engaging, when you're leaving comments, asking questions, and retweeting or posting out, this is how this show grows organically. And that's the only way the Shannon Joy Show grows. It's organically, because we don't get any help from those algorithms because we're outside of the two-party political spectrum here. I critique both parties. I don't engage in the Hegelian dialectic of false choices ever, right? And so that means that there aren't any money pots for the Shannon Joy Show. I have to find my own sponsors, and they're amazing. Thank you to the Wellness Company. Thank you to the Satellite Phone Store. Thank you to Peter Schiff and Schiff Gold, of course, and PCM and Associates for being amazing, valued sponsors of the Shannon Joy Show. Rick917, yes, Owen's on today. He sure is. I hope he gets in okay. I have him slated for 1 p.m. Eastern time. He's a busy guy. I'm a busy gal. We're trying to figure out the time zone and the differences, and hopefully he's going to get in okay. And hopefully I'll be able to bring him in. As you guys know, I'm self-producing right now. My producer, Annie, is out on leave. I am hoping to bring her back in some capacity very soon, but it's a little bit fluid. So as of right now, I am producing my own show very badly. Often, sometimes I forget to turn my mic on. Sometimes I forget to turn the camera on. Sometimes I can't get my guests in the studio. It's all very challenging. So yeah, but thank you for being patient with me as I self-produce. And it does look as if Owen has joined the stream. I'm going to allow him in. We're not going to bring him in just yet because I do need to take a moment to honor someone very, very special as we set up the show today. I don't know if you guys have heard, but one of my favorite guests, one of my absolute favorite people, an angel, one of the most amazing medical freedom warriors, has passed away. And I'm just heartbroken to tell you all that Warner Mendenhall has passed away after a very short battle with colon cancer, very fast moving. And he was diagnosed about 6 months ago. And it was very fast. Absolutely devastating news. Warner Mendenhall was a warrior. He was a giant. He was a bright light. He gave hope to so many. He was a medical freedom warrior. He helped and represented Deb Conrad, dear friend of the Shannon Joy Show. She was the VAERS whistleblower from Rochester, New York. He represented Scott Shara. He was the dad who lost his beloved daughter, Grace, to legalized medical hospital killing during the dark days of COVID. Warner represented Brooke Jackson. She was the Pfizer whistleblower out of Texas. He was cheerful, optimistic. He never gave up. He never charged enough. Many of his clients he represented pro bono for free because that's just the kind of guy that he was. And I loved him. And I know Deb Conrad loved him. He was on the show many, many times, representing a variety of medical freedom warriors that needed help. I had the honor of meeting him at multiple events through Brownstone and sharing a panel with him at many different instances, and just absolutely tragic. And I want to just read a couple statements from some of our most valued guests on the Shannon Joy Show, friends of the Shannon Joy Show in the medical freedom community, who paid tribute to Warner, who passed away 2 days ago after a tragically short battle with colon cancer. This is what Dr. Mary Talley Bowden had to say. She said, "Of all the wonderful people I've met in the past 6 years, the one who gave me the most hope was attorney Warner Mendenhall. He fought with eloquence and class. I don't think I ever heard him utter a rude word. He always had a smile on his face. He took on Pfizer, the federal government, abusive hospitals on the behalf of the little guys. And knowing Warner, he will continue to fight in heaven. His energy was relentless and infectious. And when I told one of my sons he should go into law, I was thinking of Warner when I said it." This is going to make me cry a little bit. Thank you, Dr. Mary Talley Bowden, for that statement. And I agree with every word of it. Brooke Jackson, another friend of the Shannon Joy Show, regular guest, the Pfizer whistleblower out of Texas. She wrote this on behalf of Warner. Thomas Paine wrote, "The duty of a true patriot is to protect his country from its government." Warner Mendenhall helped me understand what those words truly meant. He believed that accountability matters, the truth matters, and that ordinary people have both the right and responsibility to challenge powerful institutions when something isn't right. He was brilliant, fearless, compassionate, and unwavering in his convictions. The world lost one of the best men I have ever known today. Rest in peace, Warner. Thank you for fighting beside me. And I absolutely agree. As someone who brought so many battles to all of you in the dark days of COVID, we had so many whistleblowers, so many guests. And behind so many of them was Warner Mendenhall. He was an angel. He was a fighter. He was a warrior. And we are going to desperately miss him. And so, Warner Mendenhall, thank you for everything that you have done for this country, for freedom, for liberty, and for justice. And we'll see you on the other side. All right? Warner was amazing. Warner was absolutely amazing. We're going to go to a quick commercial break. I'm going to bring in Owen Shroyer, and we are going to dedicate the rest of the show to another very courageous warrior for truth, a young man who gave up a big, lucrative platform, a huge audience. He was a made man as Donald Trump was coming into his presidency in 2025. Owen Shroyer had it made, but he also wanted to tell the truth. And he wanted to tell the truth to his audience. And on Infowars, on his platform, he did tell the truth. And that got him in big trouble. Eventually, he had to leave that platform because, he was not Trumpy enough and too negative about Trump. Well, Owen Shroyer launched his own independent network, never looked back. And he is just doing amazing work. I can't wait to get to know Owen. I can't wait to hear his story. And you guys are going to get to know him as well. As I mentioned in the introduction of the Shannon Joy Show, he is leading the independent movement, a movement of Americans under the age of 65, not tethered to either political party, not left, not right, not Republican, not Democrat, truth-based, principles-based. And we realize that we're losing our country. We're losing our country to a criminal class of predators in Washington, D.C., who have dominated electoral politics for the past 70 years. Well, their time is over, and our time is coming. And Owen Shroyer is right in the middle of all of that. You guys are going to meet him in just a minute when we come back right here on the Shannon Joy Show. When you are shopping at the wellness company, make sure that you use the JOY promo code. It's going to get you lots of goodies, free shipping, a percentage off of your order every single time, whether it's an emergency kit or ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, whether it's a second opinion. So many people are benefiting from the telehealth that is provided at the wellness company. If you don't trust the opinion of your doctor, if you want a second opinion, if you don't trust a diagnosis, this is a way for you to go out, take control of your own health. You can get your own second opinion at the wellness company. The emergency medical kits are absolutely amazing. The contagion kit, every American needs an emergency medical kit in their home. It is an amazing source of peace of mind. You will have the life-saving prescriptions that you need, antibiotics, things like ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine. Sometimes in an emergency situation, certain medications are hard to get on purpose. You don't have to worry about that when you are prepared with that emergency kit. In fact, one of the listeners of the Shannon Joy Show mentioned that she purchased her emergency care kit about 8 months ago and has already used it 3 times. How amazing is that? Sometimes you just need access to that prescription. You don't have time to get to the doctor. It's such an easy process. You go to twc.health/joy. That's twc.health/joy. And you sign up. You have a consultation with one of the wellness company doctors. They work out all of your prescriptions, get them ready for you. You assemble the kit, and it is in your home, on your doorstep, about a week and a half later. It is such an easy process. And with the Joy promo code, you're going to get $60 off your emergency kit. It is worth every penny. People absolutely love it. And you'll get $60 off plus free shipping when you go to twc.health/joy. That's twc.health/joy, and absolutely use that JOY promo code because it's a huge discount. He also said this, it looks like the correction in the tech stocks, so not just Bitcoin, but that bubble that we are talking about has finally begun. That's bad news for Bitcoin and the tech stocks, as the tech rally was its main support. As we see the tech stocks begin to sell off, Bitcoin should crash. Gold will likely head in the opposite direction as investors now finally begin to buy a true safe haven asset. We haven't seen huge gains in gold and silver because the dominance of the psyop, the marketing campaign, the propaganda campaign that has been waged against the American people and against the markets over the past 3 years, hyping up the AI bubble relentlessly. I've never seen anything like it. At some point, people are going to realize, and investors are going to realize, retail investors and institutional investors are going to realize that there's no there there. And everybody is realizing it now. I'm seeing it all over my social media. Everything that we told you here on the Shannon Joy Show is coming true. And this is when people move into safe haven assets. Safe haven assets for, the entirety of human history have been gold and silver, predominantly gold. If you do not have a gold strategy, I want to highly encourage you to go to shiftgold.com/joy. That is shiftgold.com/joy ASAP, like today, to get your metal strategy in place. At Shift Gold, you can buy and sell physical gold and silver. You can explore hedging against the chaos with a gold or silver-backed IRA. And he even has an option for tokenized gold, which gives you the ability to buy physical gold and silver. You don't take custody of it, but you can buy it in smaller chunks. So you can allocate $50, $100, $200 a month to that tokenized gold. And as soon as you hit a certain threshold, you can trade it in and you can actually take custody of your physical gold and silver. It's a great option for people who don't have enough money to meet those reserves if you're buying physical gold and silver, and for younger investors, people who want to begin to hedge. So that's shiftgold.com/joy, shiftgold.com/. Welcome back, everyone, to the Shannon Joy Show. Without further ado, I want to bring in our guest for today. For the very first time, Owen Shroyer joins us on the Shannon Joy Show. I have been dying to talk to you for such a long time, Owen. Welcome to the SJ Show. He is the host. If you guys didn't hear my introduction, he is the host of the Owen, or it's the Owen Show, right? Every day. Why am I blinking in that?
Report.
The Owen Report, yes. And just an amazing warrior for truth, very courageous guy. And welcome to the Shannon Joy Show. Great to have you here for the first time.
Well, it's glad to be here, and I hope you weren't dying too much. We got to keep you around. You're one of the independent people out there that's willing to tell the truth. So,
Well, there aren't that many of us. We have a lot to talk about today. I think that it's a growing number, though. I think that what you're doing is resonating. What independents in general are doing is resonating. And you're leading with courage. I want to start with, I want people to get to know you. We're going to get into some of the news of the day. But what makes you incredibly interesting to me is your willingness to be courageous and stand up and tell the truth and stand for principles, even when you were faced with a lot of pressure. You had a prominent position on Infowars. It was, as I mentioned, peak Trump hysteria at that time. Everybody was celebrating. It was a massive victory. People who were on the Trump train were cashing in. I mean, it was raining, lucrative endorsements and that type of thing. But you chose another path. You were not as optimistic about Donald Trump and his administration. You chose to critique him in some elements of his administration, and that put you on the hot seat at Infowars. You decided to make the decision to leave. You did so publicly based on principle, and I just think that's so rare today in the United States of America that someone does that. And I want to start there with you because, you are a fantastic debater. Your positions are spot on, but that courage and that willingness to lose money, power, position for the opportunity to tell the truth and stand on principle is highly unique. So I just want to start there with that story and how you came to make that decision.
Well, that's very flattering. I think my mom would be very happy to hear that. That would make her proud.
Ah,
Um, you know, I'll try to unpack all of that. I'll start with, I guess, the motivational factor, and this is where I'm starting to see it, the separation between maybe myself or people like you and people who are kind of in media as a job, as a career.
mhm.
I didn't switch. I used to do sports media. You probably aren't aware of this. When I was a younger man, I was in the
I
sports
am.
media. I switched to politics, and it wasn't a career move. It wasn't like, "Oh, this is how I wanna make money." To me at that time, that's what I wanted to do with sports media. To me at that time, it was like a necessity. I was shocked when I realized growing up, so many things I was taught to believe are true are lies. That
Right.
lies are even printed in the history books, that the news media will lie to you, that politicians will lie to you. I mean, this was news to me when I was a young man in my early 20s, and so when I kinda went through that process going into political media, it meant something. It wasn't just
Mhm.
about a job, it wasn't just about a career. Don't get me wrong, I wanted to do this since I was in high school. I wanted to be a broadcaster.
Right.
But that's kind of the first thing that I think separates people. Like, I'm a true believer. I really want
Right.
to help the country. I'm one of the crazy ones, right? That
Right.
really thinks that we can make life better here.
Right.
And so you try to take that to some sort of a media presentation. If you can do it, change hearts and minds. And I do think that we have done that. But like, here's a statement I see from the MAGA people that attack me, probably worse than I have been attacked from the left in my life. And that's saying a lot. I was put in prison.
Right.
They say like, "Oh, you'll come running back to Trump." And it's such a perfect representation of the mindset here. Like, "Hey, I'm not reliant on Trump. This isn't about Trump for me.
Mhm.
Like, I need Trump to pat me on the head, or I need Trump to make sure that I can advance in my career or my
Mhm.
profession." And it's like that's what it is for them. It's like
Right.
that's where MAGA is at now, is they all look at it as like Trump is this golden calf, and there's like satellites of opportunities and access and money and sponsorships surrounding
Absolutely.
him, and I've never been interested in that, and I think for their sake, because I do care about people, I think that I feel bad that they haven't figured it out yet, that Trump isn't gonna be here forever.
Right.
Eventually, Trump is not gonna be the president of the United States. We hope there's a country left when he's done. I guess that's just a hope at this point. But then it's like, you realize that you've just been a cheerleader now. You've just been a cheerleader for all those years. You weren't really establishing yourself as a credible source of information, a neutral source of information or news, a non-biased source.
Right.
I'm actually kind of pleasantly enjoying now. People don't even know my politics now.
Yeah.
They don't. People tune in on the left. They tune in on the right. They're not even sure. I get called far right. I get called far
Same.
left.
Yeah.
So I think that there's a group of people in the media that are still kind of, we're just in the media to do news or whatever, be involved in commentary. And then there's kind of the new breed of the independent media, which is, we want to see a difference in our country. We believe we can help our country. We believe we can save our country. We believe it's extremely corrupt. And if we
Mhm.
can start to root out that corruption, then maybe we can take that positive change. And so I think that that's kind of where we're coming from. Some people on the left, some people on the right, we all seem to agree, no matter who I talk to, especially if it's a neutral conversation, the
Mhm.
government is corrupt, the media is corrupt, something is going wrong here. We need massive reform. And I think people hoped that was going to be Donald Trump, and that has been a pretty devastating letdown so far.
Well, was that what precipitated your departure from Infowars? Was it disillusionment with Trump and his policies? Were you always skeptical of Trump, or did something change in the election process or early 2025 that led you to step away? It's interesting. It's very interesting. There was the meme that went around in like late, I'd say 2021 and 22, when Alex Jones was kind of rehabilitating, and the Alex Jones was right about everything. That was out there in so many arenas, and he became mainstreamed. In this case, Owen, you were right about everything when it came to Donald Trump. Like everything, that departure, that breakup in 2025, you were right and Alex Jones was wrong. And now Alex Jones sounds like you. I mean, he's done a complete 180. I'm dying to know what you think about the fact that here he is now saying all the things that you were warning about in 2025, taking the same positions, which I think anyone could have reasonably surmised would happen based on what Donald Trump actually said and what he did in his first term, which is where I was at. But how does that feel today to be the guy? I mean, you were right, he was wrong. And now that's playing out based on his own positions.
Wow, that's a heavy one today on a Tuesday. Look, I think that eventually everybody's going to realize it. You know, whatever path it takes them to get there, I think eventually everybody is going to realize it. And it's tough. It's like it's like any other situation where you just have a natural inclination to deny the reality. You know, hey, somebody tells you your girlfriend's cheating on you. You've been dating her for years. It's like, no way, she couldn't cheat on me. It's like, no, we got her in the movie theater, going to the bathroom, and yeah, we got her. Yep. So it's kind of like eventually the hard truths catch up. I don't really think of it like that. I do like to have some fun feathering my cap with, things. That
I was setting you up. That was a softball, Owen. Come on now. You
I know.
Get that right out of the podcast. Right.
Alex has been through a lot.
I know.
And, me and him had some pretty epic years as a tag team in political media. I have no regrets of the stuff that we did there. But the truth of the matter is I was always going to go independent, I think is ultimately what it was. I was always going to go independent. The breakup might have been a little more rough than it needed to be.
Right.
But we had great times. I'm glad to see that. I don't know. I don't know if it was something that was holding back Alex from saying that to Trump or if he just thinks about it now. But yeah, I mean, even after everything I went through with Alex, when I saw Trump attack him like that after everything he went through, it was pretty brutal. It's like, here's a man that's been beaten up and drugged through the mud, mostly for even supporting you.
Right.
And then you're going to sit there and point the finger and laugh at him for all the mud he has on him that he went through for you. And it was, even in that moment, it was like a realization of, man, this is just how Trump is. And I don't even want to get too personal about it. I think people take politics a little too personally sometimes, and it becomes an issue. But to me, that did give us a pretty good idea into Trump's personality. It's like, I don't want to come out and be like, oh, he's a piece of shit. What a garbage human. But it's like, well, this is how he handles social contracts. This is how he handles social interactions. He's very transactional, and loyalty is really a one-way street. That's how he sees it. His loyalty doesn't matter, but you have to be loyal to him 100% of the time. And if that breaks, he's going to bury you. So that's how he operates. That's how a lot of powerful men operate. And so that just, to me, was the confirmation that's how it is with Trump. I think it's just unfortunate. Again, that's the personality stuff. It's the political stuff that was really getting at me,
Yeah.
It's the fact that still here we are. In fact, I'm going to be covering this today. Brooke Rollins goes up at the USDA. We got the screwworm problem in Texas.
Right.
And she's talking about the Biden administration. And it's like, look, I'm no fan of the Biden administration. Obviously, they put me in prison. Okay. I was very critical of the Biden administration. But this is not the Biden administration. It's like you're over a year into this administration, and they think that they can just blame the Biden administration for 4 years.
Right.
I'm just not buying it anymore. And on this case, they're caught with their hand in the cookie jar. It was the Trump administration that cut the funding to the screwworm research and control. This is on record. It was part of the first round of cuts. And it's so crazy. We here as Americans are like, hey, we all want to balance the budget. But, I think that the over expenditures are on the other side of the planet. Yeah. I don't think it's the over expenditures protecting our cattle here. I think it's the over expenditures on parts of the earth that most Americans are never even going to fathom going to.
Right.
And so, so it all gets back to the issue of politics. And I'm glad that more people are starting to catch up with the truth about this administration, because I do think there was a period of denial.
I absolutely think that there was a period of denial. And I think that, I have a guest coming on tomorrow, Dr. Joe Sansone. He's a psychotherapist and a psychologist, and we're going to talk about political cults, which I think, if you were to identify the problem today in the United States with our culture and our politics and our institutions and the corruption that you mentioned, it is the fact that a large subset of the American population, I think, has been traumatized through a variety of psyops over the past 20, 30, 40 years. and they've been conditioned and manipulated to fall into either the left or the right wing category, or the D or the R. And so there's so much fear of the other side that we've become willing to accept narcissists and psychopaths and predators on our own side, right? The left would justify anything that Joe Biden did during his administration as long as it hurt people on the so-called right. And today, people on the right would justify anything that Trump would do as long as it hurts people on the so-called left. And so we've been choosing between a lesser of two evils for such a long period of time that now I think we've degraded to a point where there is a UFC stadium arena on the front lawn of the freaking White House, okay? And they're mocking us. They're like, yeah, this is WWE. We know it. You know, like, you know what I mean? Like, to the point of absurdity, but also it's incredibly dangerous. I mean, lockdowns, the forced jabs. We have, the war in Iran, what happens in Gaza. I mean, there are real people who are really suffering, who are dying because of these administrations and both political parties. And we just can't seem to get out of it. This is why I am so focused on the under 65 crowd. I love you boomers. You're great. But I'm so focused on this coalition that Thomas Massie is building. He's joining with people like Ro Khanna. We saw an independent out of Iowa win the gubernatorial primary based on common sense, truth-based, nonpartisan positions that actually impact regular people. And, but what are your thoughts on that, those political cults? And because one of the strongest cults that I've ever witnessed is the cult around Donald Trump. It is when you see grown men who are willing to lose their lives, their fortune, their sacred honor, willing to go to bat for him over and over, even though he's betrayed them over and over. He's betrayed all of his promises. I mean, he said in 2016, he could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and they would still follow him. They would still support him. Do you think that cult is still firmly in place, or do you believe that's breaking apart and that there's room now for us to move out of those two factions, those two cults?
I halfway thought last night somebody might get shot on Fifth Street. I thought we might actually witness that.
Yeah, the next game, right?
Come to reality, considering how crazy things are.
Yeah.
Well, the MAGA cult is as strong as it's ever been. I think that still remains. As far as the left-right paradigm, I think a lot of people are breaking with it, probably more than I've ever seen in any election cycle or even that I know of in modern American political history. So I think that that's a good sign. The question becomes, where do you go politically? A lot of people don't even believe in the election process. A third-party candidate, is it even really a possibility that they can win in a general election? These are the questions that I think we might get a better idea of after the midterms. But the country is really going to be such a different place in 2028. It's really even hard to know what the issues are going to be. I think that we know what the issues are right now. Obviously, the economy is always an issue. Middle East foreign policy, unpopular. Turning America into a data center is unpopular. So we'll see how the left and the right eventually combine forces on these things. In the primary, it looks like the Republicans are going to have to stay on tune with the foreign policy and the data centers because they don't want Trump's wrath before the primary.
Right.
You see the Democrats, they're starting to lean into these issues. I think they're starting to realize that these are winning issues. The Democrats are way more strategic when it comes to voter data. So they'll even figure out which race they want somebody to run against a data center, which race they want somebody to run directly against Israel. The Democrats are really good with voter data where the Republicans are usually lacking. In fact, historically, this isn't a joke. This is true. Historically, the Republicans are known to spend money on limousines and bouquets of flowers.
Yes.
While the Democrats are spending millions on voter data. So that's just the reality of the situation. But, an example, I think, of what you're talking about with kind of it's like a team, it's like a sports team mindset of, hey, as long as I'm fighting you, I really don't care what's happening. It seems like that's kind of the thing here. Hey, as long as I'm fighting the left, or now as long as I'm fighting the people that are, not loyal to Trump, it's like that's kind of their deliverance right now. Whereas people like us are looking for real results that are gonna help the country. And I think the Hunter Biden phenomenon is maybe the perfect example right now. So here's Hunter Biden. All right. And, for anybody that doesn't know about the Hunter Biden history, There's a whole book about his laptop and all the stuff he was into with the drugs and the hookers and
Right.
doing whatever political access or favors with his dad. There's undoubtedly a there. And then the House Oversight and Judiciary Committee was able to find some wire transfers between foreign countries and Biden shell companies. There's a real thing there. Okay. So when the Bidens were in the White House, this was a big issue for MAGA. When the Bidens were in the White House, this was a big issue for Trump media and Trump supporters, was Hunter Biden and the Biden crime family.
Yep.
Okay. Well, here comes Hunter Biden in 2026. And for whatever reason, he's decided to try and gain some popularity online.
Yep.
And he's kind of doing well. He's resonating with people. He's coming off as relatable with people. I'm not even expressing an opinion here. I think this is just observable fact.
Right.
So he's growing a following. And I see all of these MAGA people now freaking out about it. Anybody that because he replies to people. So anybody that comments on his videos, anybody that shares his videos or replies to him or whatever, you're engaging in a psyop and, that you're a leftist, you're a Democrat now. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, hold on a second. If you have a complaint to file, please turn around and file it with the Trump administration. I don't have indictment powers.
Right.
I can't prosecute somebody.
Right.
If I want to interact with Hunter Biden on X, then that's my free speech.
Mm-hmm.
If he's not in prison for committing crimes, that's on the DOJ.
That's right.
Sitting here, I'm watching MAGA attack all these people that are talking to Hunter Biden or sharing his videos or commenting on his videos. And I'm just saying, why are you? It's like, there's no complaint department here. We're all on the same section of land.
Right.
We're all on the same level of the tower here. We don't file complaints here. You need to go up top and file a complaint if you're upset that Hunter Biden isn't in prison. And if you want to go on from there, that'd be nice too, because it doesn't seem like there's any deep state arrest or Epstein-Klein arrest, which I thought we cared about.
That's right.
That's the perfect encapsulation of how MAGA has become something totally foreign to me.
Right.
I was one of the first people that supported Trump in the media when he came down the escalator. In fact, I think somebody said it like this: if you are currently MAGA, you were never MAGA. And I think that's perfect. That's a perfect description of it. If you are currently MAGA, then you were never MAGA. You were originally a never MAGA person. And I think it just shows that they were really never serious about anything. And I think that they're going to find out very quickly how unserious they are, either when the Democrats do really well in the midterms or when Trump is gone. Their relevance and their purpose in life kind of goes away with it. So it's kind of a tragic state of affairs. I'm not rooting against these people, but it's like, I don't understand why all of this frustration is being directed at somebody like me for not being loyal to Trump anymore, if that's how you want to view it.
Yeah.
And it's like, we already did this. We won the election. We gave the Republicans everything. Why are you complaining at me? Like, I don't understand that. Why filing complaints over here makes no sense at all.
Well, Owen, Lindsey Graham is MAGA. Didn't you know that? Lindsey Graham is MAGA. Mitch McConnell is MAGA. Mike Johnson is MAGA. It is the epitome of the rhino political class, the corrupt class of Republicans that not only support Trump, but who Trump supports. And, he has really waged a war against truth, common sense conservatism, fiscal conservatism in primaries across the country. I mean, it's been a bloodbath. I mean, he's gone in and taken out every reasonably conservative contendant that we could imagine, including people like Chip Roy and Tom Massey. Now, he didn't go after Chip Roy in the same way he went after Tom Massey, but he did withdraw his support. Right. He's now pledging to go after Lauren Boebert for supporting Tom Massey. And he's literally getting behind the most corrupt big government Republican rhinos you can imagine. It's crazy.
Well, I think Lindsey Graham has to be the best example. You laid out a lot of them. And, you could even find a way, even if it's a 1% chance, you could find a way to justify maybe everything else. It's like, I could probably find a way. If I was really just needed to find the reason to do it, I could find that 1% chance. I can't find it with Lindsey Graham. With Lindsey, it's the most obvious. It's the foreign lobby. And it's the most obvious that Trump has totally turned on his base.
Yes.
Lindsey Graham gets booed when he shows up at Trump rallies. Trump knows that. He's seen it multiple times. Trump used to rally against Lindsey Graham. And quite frankly, there were two great candidates in South Carolina, whose primary is today, by the way. They're voting right now. There were two great candidates, Paul Dans and Mark Lynch.
Yeah.
And for the Republican side of the aisle, they really had found the path to removing the swamp creatures. They kind of ran a strategic formula that I think could work, where both of them run a really good primary, really strong primary, and then right before it's time to go vote, one of them drops out and endorses the other candidate. So it's kind of like you can kind of double your capabilities. You can kind of double your powers. And as long as you're both in it for the right reasons, you say, hey, you know what? Maybe neither of us really wants to go to DC, but we do have to. So, hey, one of us will drop out. The other one will take it. And if we want to, come back and do it, we can next go around. But to me, it's like they had that formula. Paul Dans drops out of the race, endorses Mark Lynch, and it's like, okay, here we go. We know Lindsey Graham is unpopular. We just had a nice primary. We've got some momentum behind Lynch, starting to gain some name recognition here. We might be able to pull this off. We might be able to get Lindsey Graham out. And then it's like, all right, here we go. And then who are we looking at? We're looking at Trump. We're like, what the hell? What? Like, I don't know if you've seen that tug of war meme, but it's like, it used to be MAGA pulling against Democrats and stuff. Right. And now we're pulling against Trump, and it's Trump on the other side of the rope. And we're like, what? How in the hell did we get here? So that's kind of how it feels on a lot of these issues now. And again, you go back and I just look at MAGA. It's like a politician lying to me. Okay, there's 7 days in the week. A politician lied to me. Watching the American people that are in MAGA, many of which, I used to consider friends. I guess they don't consider me a friend anymore. Very rude and mean to me now. Yeah. And I'm just sitting here. I'm like, well, what is it that you guys think that you're getting out of this? We're not winning on the issues. I don't. Are they getting paid, Owen? Because this has been my contention. And just for the record, I was actually opposed as a conservative Republican on the radio. I started on the radio as well, just like you, at a tiny little AM radio station in a double wide trailer in a cornfield. True story. Okay. I got thrown off of the radio station because I refused to get on the Trump train. And I critiqued him from the day he came down the golden escalator. Like, I always, from a conservative constitutional liberty perspective. And from my perspective, I was just like, listen, this guy has been lying his entire life. He's just a liar. That's all he does. He's a predator. like we know who this guy is. There's no way he's going to make it. And that was, that was my story, and I stuck to it. But, in terms of where we're going with this, I just can't understand what it is that is keeping conservative media, conservative platforms, tethered to Donald Trump. Is it the money? Are they being paid to shut up and not say anything? Are they afraid? Do they really believe in him? Or is this, at times it looks to me as if major media outlets are being held completely hostage and literally just beclowning themselves, ruining their credibility, ruining their, any type of consistency that they had in terms of position with their audiences. And I just watch one group after another go through this. And they basically just crash up against Trump, and all of them get smashed to smithereens. No one wins. No one wins in this. And we're seeing it with Bobby Kennedy Jr. We saw it with the evangelical pastors. We saw what Donald Trump did to the Christian pastors who supported him. That's over. We saw it with conservative media, or Con Inc., all of the big outlets. And now at this point, the golden goose is not going to be around forever. But at this point, I just don't see how anyone can survive. But I've always wondered about that money play and how much that played a part. Or was it just the bullying? I don't know. But what are your thoughts on it? Because you were in it. You experienced a lot of that. I've got this one pretty much figured out.
Okay.
You're not far off. Are people getting checks? Is money getting deposited into their bank account? Some. That's not really the main issue, but there are some. I do know that there are different digital influence campaigns that political campaigns can hire to promote a video, to promote whatever.
Yeah.
This was really happening a lot during the election cycle.
Yeah.
The teams that were doing it for Trump, they had some money left up in their treasure chest. They've kind of ramped it up again in the last year. And that's why you kind of see the similar thing on social media where people are all like posting the same thing.
Right.
So there's definitely money out there. And, I don't really take that one as much. I'm a free market capitalist. If you want to do this and get paid, I'm okay with that. If you want to sell out your integrity, I'm going to call you out. And I think the American people should know that. But at the end of the day, I'm not against people making money. And I think that in the big scheme of things, that's only part of the issue. I think the other side of that coin is not just the people that are doing it, let's say political mercenary media men for hire.
Yeah.
You have people that have basically built an entire persona, an entire business model even off of Trump.
Right.
I mean, that's literally their entire business model. They sell Trump merchandise, subscriptions for Trump updates. Their whole show is branded Trump, whatever. They sell a Trump wig. So then there's an entire wing of the media that is literally just Trump centric. Well, what do? That's their brand. They can't break from their brand. So it's always going to be Trump because that's their business model. Whether they support him or not, who knows at this point. That's their business model. And then there's a third factor here, which is, and I want to explain not to come off as too arrogant here, but there is a third factor of some people are just way behind. And that's just the fact. Some people are just way behind. And when I look at the MAGA movement, I look at all the people that I was fighting in 2015 and 2016, all the people I was ramming heads against on the right, me as an anti-establishment guy, versus the right-wing establishment. Now all of them run MAGA. So it's like all of the bad people that were trying to stop Trump from getting in that we banged heads with for years.
Right.
Now Trump works for them and they're all running MAGA. So it's like there's like a 5-year period where some people are just way ahead of the rest. Some people are 20, some people are 1, some people are 10. And the reason I say not to be arrogant, it's not even necessarily like a brag thing. It's like anybody else. If you spend a bunch of time doing something, you're going to be better. You're going to know more and you're going to understand an issue better. I can't go build a rocket. I wouldn't know the first thing about building a rocket. I'd look like a monkey. Okay. I'd be sitting there making sounds and stuff. So I'm not good at making rockets, but I'm good at political analysis. I'm good at following political trends. And so I might be better at that than somebody that can make a rocket. So you have all of these people that they don't really follow politics. They're kind of into Trump. They don't really know how to follow news and trends. They just kind of know how to like react to whatever Trump does. But because they've gained such a massive following in the last couple of years over social media, this has caused them to believe that they are like a media person, like a professional political analyst. And they kind of are getting deceived by just the Trump people that love them and like to support Trump. So they support them. So there's a bunch of different factors. The post-Trump world is going to be so strange, honestly, Shannon. I think a lot of people are looking forward to it. It might be a little boring at times.
Jesus.
Really
Please, bored. Jesus. I'd like to be bored for once on my show, Owen.
Because you're not allowed to be bored. No.
It's like a fire hose in my face every day. That's the news of absurdity. It's like yesterday, I didn't think when I started 13 years ago, I never would have imagined this is where we would be in the culture today, because the level of absurdity, the level of gaslighting, the constant lies, the in your face, blatant corruption. You mentioned Hunter Biden and Joe Biden and pay to play and the inside deals and money for access. At least they had the decency to hide it during the Biden administration because it was illegal, immoral, and just basically horrifying, right? They're doing it right in our faces, Owen. It is one brazen, in your face, double middle finger deal after another. One pump and dump after that, whether it's crypto, we're going to open the Strait of Hormuz. Nope, we're going to close the Strait of Hormuz. We're going to start the war. We're going to end the war. Like every single time they run a headline, they are cashing out. They are, shorting certain industries. They're playing the market, and they're just laughing at us at this point. In fact, when we come back, I'd like to go there. I'd like to go to the corruption with you, if we could. There's so many questions that I have for you, but I think I want to narrow in on the corruption. I do think that media is corrupt, particularly conservative media. I do think that there are ways that they take the money. And to your point, I don't know exactly how that works, but this is what I know as, because I've been I've been deplatformed and dumped multiple times for not being Trumpy enough or for criticizing Trump too much. That's just been my career for 13 years. And so like you, I've learned how to grow and how to survive independently. Very lean. I have a lean operation, no debt, and I'm careful with how I run my business. But I had the front row seat to this. It was right before the 224 election. It was as Trump was gaining, or he was winning the primary against Ron DeSantis. And actually there wasn't even a primary because they decided that no one gets to run against Trump. He was just the de facto candidate. And my production company that was running my show at the time said to me in November of 2024, they said, basically, Shannon, it's over. Ron DeSantis is going to lose. Trump is going to win. He's going to be the candidate. That's where all the money is. And if you don't stop talking about DeSantis or stop criticizing Trump, then we're going to dump you. And they did. They dumped me. I mean, this was a production company that they brought all the deals in, all the advertising. Like, they managed a lot of that for me. And they literally dumped me. That's why I started self-producing. So it's not as cut and dry as you mentioned, where it's like, hey, I'm going to give you $10,000 if you Trump hump for the next 12 months or omit any criticism about Trump. But it's like, you don't get the deals. There's definitely, I sense there's a pipeline. There's a pipeline to money and sponsorships and deals that you just don't get access to unless you're in one of those lanes, whether there's a money access for the Democrats and there's a money access for the Republicans. And for the past 10 years, the money access for the right has been through Trump. That's kind of the way that I see it happening. Before we go to break, your thoughts on that. And then when we come back, I do want to get into the corruption angle of this, because it's breathtaking what this administration has done.
The money thing, what's so strange about it is I see the accusations against me. And this is one of the things I learned working for Alex Jones. I would see people make the wildest accusations about Alex that it's like I knew were not true, obviously.
Right.
And they would say this stuff with the utmost confidence. And I'm just like, okay, well, you're a total crazy person. But also, I don't want to look like that. So I kind of learned to never have so much confidence about assumptions I'm making. So but I say that because when it comes to the money, I see a lot of it happening. I see people making assumptions about where I'm getting money from. Like they love saying Qatar or the Muslim Brotherhood and all this stuff. It's all totally made up. And yet somehow they totally believe it in their minds. And so I'm sitting here and I'm wondering, I'm saying, okay, that is either just propaganda, MK Ultra mind control working on you, that you would just repeat that propaganda and say that, or projecting, or you're getting paid somehow. Maybe it's a foreign country, something. Maybe you're the one that's getting paid for political opinions, not in a neutral, organic way, but bought and paid for political opinions. Maybe you're getting paid, and that's why you're accusing me of it. So I see a lot of that. I see a lot of it, especially after these last two debates I did on these debate panels, and people are making these accusations. And what's even funnier, Shannon, is I've been through so much legal crap in the last 8 years or whatever. I've probably had a dozen different federal agents in my bank accounts, a dozen different lawyers in my bank accounts who don't like me, by the way, not friendly lawyers. If there's anything there, it's so ridiculous. So, and I'm like, okay, are you just MK Ultra mind controlled, or are you the ones getting paid? I don't know. I think it's a little of both, but I think that there's also a pipeline. There is money on social media. And I think there's a pipeline where there's a system where they can basically boost your social media and make it so that you don't even necessarily have to take a paycheck from them. They can just make sure you're hitting critical mass on social media with whatever network and system they have, so that, you're getting paid through whatever social media platform you're on, and they're just making sure that you're producing the numbers. It's so crazy how this stuff works. And it's like the whole money angle. It's, it doesn't make sense how people with no talent can become so rich and famous in politics.
This has been my point. This is how I knew when I finally figured. I always had this sense that I wasn't in the pipeline. I knew I wasn't in them because I don't have any money, so I'm clearly not in the pipeline. But when I saw cat turd in the litter box, right? Like this guy doesn't even come on stream. He just scrolls. He doesn't come on. Cat turd in the litter box get millions and millions and millions of followers on Twitter, and he's like hugely promoted on Rumble. I'm like, that's not organic. Like that clearly they're boosting him. And I don't know if there's a contract or how it works, but I totally agree with you. That is one of the ways that they could, keep their hands clean, right? We're not paying you any money, but we're giving you algorithmic preference on these platforms that are friendly to Trump. And remember, Twitter was super friendly to Trump with Elon Musk throughout the election in 2024 and even into early 2025. And so there were a lot of accounts that were being retweeted by Elon Musk and were being pushed out by that algorithm. And if you get that following, then you're going to be taking home, $10, $20, $30,000 a month just on the monetization in those platforms. So that's definitely one of those pipelines. Oh, and I totally agree with you. And then some are more blatant. I mean, we did have the report. I mean, there were a couple very prominent influencers. Benny Johnson was one of them who was caught. I mean, they were caught taking money from foreign governments. And so it's, you just have to, I tell my audience, them by their fruit. Look for someone who's consistent, who says things that are unpopular or not lucrative, who is willing to stand up for the truth, and just really, really pay close attention, because eventually I think that most of them expose themselves. But it's murky and it's gray. And I agree with you. I don't want to go out accusing people of taking money to take certain positions, because as you mentioned, we all have to make a living. The way that I do it, Owen, is I just tell people if money's coming in, they know. So I have advertisers, they know who my advertisers are, and then my audience supports me, and we keep it pretty simple. And even if I did take money, like I would probably take money from the Tom Massey campaign. Like if he ran for president and he was like, hey, Shannon, I want you to support me and like have me on your show and, we'll do a sponsorship, I'd be like, totally. But I would tell my audience about it so that they would know to take it with a grain of salt every time I talked positively about Thomas Massey. I think it's just letting your audience know. That's what I think is the missing component here. If people are taking money on the down low and not telling their audiences, then you're natural, like it's very manipulative. And, so that's my thought on that.
Well, we've seen X specifically. I don't know as much about the other social media platforms, but X kind of operates a little bit differently. We've seen them try to clamp down on some of the paid promotional posts, but it seems that they only are concerned with the prediction markets. Through my experience, is they want prediction market posts that if you're in a partnership with one of the prediction markets, then you have to put those posts up. There's a little disclaimer there, which I think is fine. I have no problem with that for the reason that you just expressed. The issue that I have is it seems to only apply to the prediction markets. And I know that there were other digital influence campaigns going on out there because I've been offered to be a part of them and I turned them down. And really, once you've seen a couple of them, it kind of becomes obvious. It's either like in fact, I would say it just happened last night. When there was the video of Trump at the Madison Square Garden during the national anthem, standing and saluting. I'm pretty sure there was a digital influence campaign to make sure people saw that video in a positive light, because he was getting booed at the arena. And so if you go and you look at some of these accounts, they post the video and they say, "Oh, President Trump, chance of USA, America's back," that type of thing.
Crazy.
And I think that's counter propaganda, because they knew Trump got booed. They knew the videos of him getting booed were going to surface. So I think there was a digital influence campaign to do that. Now, the question on that would be, well, who's paying for something like that? That just is raw politics. That's not like promoting a crypto coin or promoting a stock or promoting a news story. At least with that, you can see like this is where they want you to go. With that, it's like, well, who's paying you just to protect Trump's image if that's going on?
Well, and he's not even up for re-election in the midterms. It's not even a political year for Trump. I mean, he basically can do whatever he wants. It doesn't even really matter what people think of him. That's really interesting. Who's behind that type, and that's a sophisticated campaign. This is sophisticated. The use of bots and trolls and fake accounts and this type of mass messaging posing as, real organic messaging across social media is concerning. It's why a lot of people don't trust social media anymore, and they don't trust what they see online. Today we're talking to Owen Shroyer, one of the fastest growing independent commentators in the country, and doing really great work. When we come back, I want to get into the corruption that we're seeing in this administration, the UFC stadium on the White House. We now have community organizers who are trying to stop it, saying that not only is it trashy and lacking in decorum and making a mockery of our system and our institutions, but it's also potentially illegal and highly, highly immoral. So we can talk about that and other elements as well with Owen Shroyer when we come back right here on the Shannon Joy Show. Wellness company. I cannot tell you how much I love the ivermectin cream from the Wellness company. twc.health/joy, twc.health/joy. My son has just started using the ivermectin cream and he loves it. Not only is it controlling his acne, he had adolescent onset acne, really struggled with it in his sophomore, junior year. We battled it. We've gotten it under control, but he still has occasional outbreaks and he still has the residual redness and scarring from those really difficult years, which has been frustrating for him. Recently put him on the ivermectin, and not only is it keeping his skin perfectly clear, he came to me this morning and he said, "Mom, in just a couple days, I've already noticed that the redness and the scarring that I deal with every day is going away. It's actually reducing that redness from the scarring, which is unbelievable." That's something that I had to do. I had adult onset acne in my mid to late 20s, and the scarring was really bad. And it took me years of microneedling with PRP to reduce all of the bumps and all of the redness at the bottom half of my face. This is being cured by ivermectin. The ivermectin cream, my son is using it. I use it as well for rosacea. If you're older and you're beginning to get that redness throughout your cheeks and on your nose and around your mouth, and it's really bothering you, the ivermectin cream knocks it out in as little as the first use. I noticed a huge difference within a day or two. So you can get that on discount from the Wellness Company. It's one of their best products. twc.health/joy. That is twc.health/joy. Welcome back, everyone, to the Shannon Joy Show. Yes, I am obsessed with the ivermectin cream over at the Wellness Company. Very thankful for all of our advertisers on the Shannon Joy Show. If you're in the market for any of their products or services, please patronize them, because that's how we keep the lights on here on the show. Peter Schiff over at Schiff Gold, the Wellness Company, of course, satellite phone store, sat123.com/joy, and of course, Don Polano of PCM and Associates. You guys can also sign up for the Ask Jay Daily e-newsletter. It is how I stay connected to all of you. In a year and a half, we've built that newsletter up to 45,000 subscribers. It's my direct access to all of you. I send you my show notes every day. We're live Monday through Friday at noon to noon 30 Eastern time on all of the different platforms, every platform you can imagine. You'll never miss a show because you'll get the Shannon Joy e-blast, and it's how I stay connected to all of you. And for those of you who support the Shannon Joy Show with monthly contributions, thank you so much. It is this audience and our advertisers that keep the lights on here. So we are so thankful for all of you. And I'm very thankful for my new friend, Owen Shroyer, who was with us today on the SJ Show and just doing amazing work, 3 hours a day, which is unbelievable. You start at 3 p.m.-ish every day?
3 p.m. Central. I'm kind of like a rock band. I go on stage when I want, but no, we're usually on air by 3:10 at the latest.
Okay, no, same. I'm late for my own show every day. Everyone gets after me because I'm late.
You're probably like me. When you're in a TV studio and there's a whole production, timeliness is key. And I have no problem being on TV schedule. But now that I'm in more of a radio format in my own studio, it's more of like a vibe. It's more of a vibe than a countdown. It's like, okay, when is it time to go?
Oh my gosh. I told my audience, I'm like a feral cat. You could never put me back in a corporation or a studio because I'm completely unsocialized because I do it on my own. But no, that's great. Let's talk about corruption, because this is something that has been breathtaking for me to observe and witness. And it's going to become very serious for millions of Americans, particularly retirees, who are now, their pensions, their 401ks are being targeted by the Trump administration, the tech bros and the bankster cronies, to open them up to these massive AI companies that are going to go down, right? They're not making any money. It's been all hype. It's been a massive propaganda operation. And, we're looking, I'm going to have Ed Dowd in the Joy virtual studio on Friday at what could be perhaps the largest pump and dump scheme we've ever seen. And this time they have access to the pensions and the 401ks. That's just one area of corruption. We have the Trump administration using the war in Iran and the opening and closing of the Strait of Hormuz, the brokering and negotiating peace deals that never come to fruition, but lots of shady trading happening on Fridays and on Mondays. We have accusations of shorting markets, pumping and dumping, insider trading, and even in this situation with the UFC, pitching their tent on the White House lawn, right, to make money. This is a private organization. It is for profit. They're selling VIP passes for between $1 and $1.5 million. Paramount Plus is charging $8 a month for the streaming of whatever it is that is going down. They're using the power of the presidency, the institution of the White House, a cultural institution that belongs to we the people, not President Trump, to sell to the highest bidder. We're going to be enriching private citizens. Dana White, who is a scoundrel to begin with, not a great guy, and it's just right in our faces. They're not even. That's what is so unsettling to me, is how brazen they are in all of this. And then my mind starts going and I'm like, why aren't they worried about doing this? Why aren't they worried about going to jail? Why aren't they worried about being thrown out of office or being impeached? Like, why isn't Trump worried about the midterms at all? He doesn't care. And that makes me feel very unsettled, because it feels as if criminality has been legalized by this administration in a way that we never saw happen during even the Biden administration or the Obama administration. I think that we've crossed over into a space that is concerning and unsettling. And I would like to know how you feel about that and what your thoughts are on those topics.
Well, as far as the UFC deal is concerned, it's like the least of our issues. And I'm guessing, the lawsuit, it's the same group that filed the lawsuit of the demolition site where they're trying to build the ballroom.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like the lawsuit with the UFC setup is probably a non-starter. They got it. Whatever Congress passed for the 250 events, it looks like that gave them the clearance. At least that's what the Trump administration argued.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's nobody's stopping the UFC 250, except maybe, I don't know, Sean Strickland or Bryce Mitchell with a megaphone outside of the gate because they're banned for criticizing Israel. So, as far as these issues are concerned, I look at the UFC fight as kind of the lesser issue. Really, if you look on the other side of that tree line with the ballroom, now there's a serious issue, whatever is going on with that. And right out of the gates, we were all still kind of on the hope train right out of the gates. And Trump getting all of these, these globalist maniacs like Bill Gates and others to donate money to build the ballroom. We were kind of like, well, this is odd, but I guess he's, fleecing them to improve the country. Okay, maybe we'll roll with this. Well, we end up, it's all, it all ends up being pay for play at the end of the day. I mean, like every single time, eventually they get some sort of a government benefit, contract, whatever. And so it seems like that just continues to be the ongoing case, whether it's Michael Dell with the Trump accounts or everything else. Well, now, not only do they have the lawsuit that looks like it's going to have some staying power, they also don't even have the funding. So they don't even have the money. There's a giant hole in the ground. Now there's a lawsuit. You don't even have the wing anymore because you demolished it.
Right.
The whole thing is kind of turning out to be the Trump administration in a visual representation. But to get to your more important question, which is, okay, we're watching all this brazen, just what appears to be outright corruption. It's just like it's blatant, it's right in our face, and we're saying, how can this be? Is it really this bad? I think there's an element of people around Trump that are setting him up for failure. I think there are an element of people around Trump that still want to see him go down. They don't mind riding with him to the top, but they
Right.
still want to see him fall to the bottom. And I think it's the same people that told him, hey, it's okay, go bomb those drug boats. We know they're drug boats. There's definitely going to be drug boats. We're going to bomb these drug boats. It's legal. Obama did it. And Trump says, okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's going to hold up if they decide to impeach him over it. I wouldn't be surprised if it didn't, depending on the outcomes of the midterms. And so you have these different situations, the war in Iran, the situation with his sons getting billions of dollars in companies that they invest in as a startup. So these are real things. You just mentioned the one happening right now at the White House. These are real things that I could see the Democrats. I wouldn't even be surprised if some Republicans joined.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if Trump ends up getting impeached over these things. And he's got people there telling him it's all good. He's got people saying, hey, it's all good. You're in the clear. No worries. Everybody else does it. You'll be fine. I don't know if that's going to apply. And I think it'd be an extreme mismeasurement from Trump to assume that that is going to apply, that they're going to let him off the hook like they did Hillary or like they did with Joe. I don't think so. Or like he's done to his political enemies. I don't think so. I think if the Democrats win big in the midterms, the Senate and the House, he could have a serious problem on his hands with this stuff. And I think he's getting bad advice. I mean, if he's making these decisions on his own accord, then yeah, we got some serious problems.
Right.
But if he's taking this bad advice, to me, it looks like he's being set up for a massive failure.
I have posited the scenario that Donald Trump does something pretty extraordinary to potentially cancel or delay the midterm elections because of that. The declaration of an emergency, the declaration of war, some extraordinary event that gives him the opportunity to justify canceling the midterms. Do you think that that's conceivable?
Yes, I do. And the fact that we've invested so much in Ukraine, a country that doesn't have elections, the fact that we have invested so much in Israel, in a country where Netanyahu is also trying to avoid as many political and legal developments as he possibly can with this war. I don't think it's far-fetched at all to think that Donald Trump might see that as a strategy and try to roll with it. And I think that there are a lot of people even that are starting to have these thoughts like you are. The only thing I would say, which is crazy, but I think the results prove it true, it seems that Trump wouldn't do this for himself. Trump doesn't seem, aside from maybe, the business transaction enriching his family, as far as like the political developments, he doesn't really do anything to help himself. He's not really going after the Obama administration. He's not really going after the people that put him in court, right? So, I mean, yeah, he's making business deals that are certainly helping his family, but that doesn't really do anything for us. We were looking for the political haymakers is what we were looking for here. And so the only time where Trump seems to be willing to stick his nose where it doesn't belong or to stick his foot out there to try to make things happen politically is for Israel and Netanyahu. So if he is to cancel the midterms, my guess is he's not doing it to protect himself from impeachment. He's doing it because he knows he needs to continue to be the commander in chief to let Netanyahu get whatever he needs to do done in the Middle East. And if Trump isn't president or he's going through impeachment, maybe Israel is not so comfortable doing these things. They're only comfortable with Trump in there for whatever reason. So it seems that that's the history. Trump won't step out of line to benefit himself politically and go after his political opposition. He won't do that. He'll do it for business deals. But if he is going to step out of line politically, it seems to always benefit Israel. And this is why everybody is sitting here scratching their head more than ever. Like, why is this going on? Where does all this influence from Israel come from? Why is it happening? Is it all Epstein? Is it all AIPAC? Is it all Adelson? Do they really care? It's like, it's so overwhelmingly obvious now, you have to ask yourself these questions. And then it gets even weirder when, these questions are very fair to land
Right.
on.
Yeah.
And it gets even weirder when you have all these people telling you not to do it. And you have all these people defending it. And you're just like, wait,
Yeah.
what? Whoa, where are your loyalties here? Where are
Mhm.
you coming from? Because to me, that's unrelatable. That's unrelatable to me. Supporting and having fealty to a foreign country instead of your own country's interest. Now we're all watching this happen in American politics, and we're just like, what the hell is going on? I
Yeah.
thought we had a deep state here in Washington, D.C. What the hell is going on in Tel Aviv? And why
Right.
are these two things so connected?
Right. Well, and this is what's breaking the movement. This is what is dividing MAGA and breaking it apart, has been the brazen, seemingly submission to Israel, Bibi Netanyahu, and these foreign influencers. Who do you think is wagging the dog? I go back and forth. Some people would say that Israel is controlling Trump. I don't know if I totally buy that. I wonder if there's something even larger, an entity larger than Israel and America, or Bibi and Trump, that is trying to control things and move us into kind of the new global system of digital ID, digital currency, the total surveillance, total control system. We have nothing, they have everything. We're slaves, whatever, all those terribly dystopian things. What are your thoughts on who is wagging the dog in that relationship, Bibi and Trump?
Well, it does seem that Bibi has, I don't know if you could say either one is wagging the dog, but it does appear that Bibi has no concern doing whatever he wants,
Right.
whereas
Yeah.
Trump seems to have a little bit of more of a tether to Israel's interests. It
Okay.
seems that Bibi's interests are whatever he wants, and he doesn't really care. If Trump says don't go into the West Bank, Bibi goes into the West Bank. If Trump says
Mhm.
stop bombing Palestine, Bibi bombs Palestine. Trump says stop bombing. I mean, I can go on down the list.
It's true.
So
It's
the
true.
disrespect on that front seems to be only going one direction.
Mhm.
I do think, though, Trump has his own interests, whether it's his family, whether it's land, whether it's real estate. You know, you look at the Epstein files, you look at the Adelson money. I think that all these things are definitely a factor. But I think ultimately Trump is making decisions off of what is going to be the best business deal for him and his family in the long run. And I think
Right.
Israel, the people, the country of people, it really ends up just getting used, kind of like the United States of American people get used. Israel kind of just ends up getting used for these goals. And so we know now, I think it's pretty clear that whatever the controlling forces of Israel are, they want to control all of these waterways.
Mhm.
They want total control over trade and shipping in that region. And so Trump probably figures if I am able to give Israel these deals, then my family is going to move in here. We're going to get a bunch of land deals. We see what's
Right.
going on in Albania. We'll build the Trump towers, whatever, golf courses.
Yep.
So I think that those are the two mutual interests. So Netanyahu, he sees himself as like the savior of Israel. He sees himself as this is his legacy. He's going to expand Israel. He's going to take Palestine. He's going to expand north. He's going to expand east. He's going to start these new negotiations with the Gulf nation states. So I think that that's kind of Netanyahu's grand vision, is that he wants to go down as this historic figure for Israel,
Right.
the most accomplished Jew ever, not in the Bible. And it's like that's kind of the narcissistic, psychotic, I think that the force that's driving Netanyahu, and Trump is just coming more from a business angle. But it does appear that Israel has the upper hand. Whatever it is that gives Israel that, it does appear that Israel has the upper hand in all of this stuff. Because when both sides decide they're going to start barking at one another, Trump always comes to heel first.
Hmm.
Trump is always the one that comes to heel on these situations in the Middle East, not Netanyahu. And I
Right.
think really, if you look at June 2026, you go back June 2025, Shannon, this was all supposed to be over. This was
Yeah.
all supposed to be over with Operation Midnight Hammer. I mean, that was the point. That was Trump giving Netanyahu, okay, I'm going to go bomb Iran for you. I'm going to go bomb Iran. We're going to obliterate their nuclear facilities. And then you're going to shut up about it. And you're going to
Mhm.
leave me alone about it. And we're going to do it. And it's going to be done. Well, here we are a year later. We've been at war for what? A year with Iran. So, to me, that shows that whatever it is, Israel has the upper hand in this relationship. And the one thing you can't help but notice, every time Trump gets hesitant on Iran, a new Epstein story drops. Every single time for over a year. Most recently, what was it? Oh, Melania was an escort. Melania was a prostitute, and Trump took her off Epstein, or whatever the Melania Epstein thing was. As soon as Trump got hesitant on Iran, boom, he gets hit with the Melania Epstein thing. Now, I will say it was funny. It seems that after that, Trump starts threatening to audit Fort Knox, and now I'm starting to wonder if that's his upper hand. Now I'm wonder, is Trump's ace card that he knows the bastards that stole the money from Fort Knox? Because every time, it's like now every time he gets the incoming Epstein, all of a sudden he starts talking about Fort Knox again. It's like, is that his warning? It's like, hey, I know you stole the gold. You better leave me alone here. That's just the crazy dynamics of geopolitics.
It's insane. We are governed by criminal cartels. It feels like the mob. I feel like we are witnessing mob families, like criminal cartels, like duking it out for whatever the spoils will be in the 21st century, or whoever is going to, run the new world order. Do you think that Bibi Netanyahu is a puppet? Do you think that Trump and Bibi are both puppets, that they don't have much power, and that they're controlled by those oligarchical factions, those shadowy people, Epstein kind of people in the shadows who really run things? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, there does seem to be some sort of I don't know if I would say they're puppets, but they do seem to be part of a larger, globalist system, whatever people want to call it.
Right.
Love to call it, the system of Judeo-Christian values. That seems to be something that they've come up with to convince Americans or Christians that we have to continue on with this partnership forever.
Crazy.
But no, there seems to be a larger system at play here. Trump is a part of it. Netanyahu is a part of it. And I think that this thing can be isolated from other larger issues too. So just on the U.S.-Israel side, though, I think that there are people, again, you go back to the trade, you go back to the shipping. I think that there are people right now that are trying to basically dictate, for whatever we have left here of the 21st century, what's going to happen in the Middle East with trade, what's going to happen in the Middle East with shipping, what's going to happen in the Middle East with energy. These are trillions of dollars. I mean, we're talking about trillions of dollars. We're talking about who controls the levers of power. And so there seems to be some system working, and Trump and Netanyahu both work for this system to try to give Israel, or even American Jews, the power in the Middle East, the power over shipping and waterways and trade and energy. And that's going to be trillions of dollars. And it seems to be that's what the driving force here is.
That makes a lot of sense to me when you watch what Trump is doing just with Gaza and the technate and what he's putting in place to kind of, essentially be the king of Gaza. I mean, after all of the dust settles, they have that all ready to go. The Kushners looking to secure that island in Albania with all of the bunkers. Like, you do get the sense that they all know something's coming.
I know. They're all bunkers.
And they're all getting ready for something. And I'm like, oh gosh.
Yeah,
Calgon, take me away.
Accordingly, huh?
Right. This is what I've learned from COVID. It's bad, but it's never as bad as we think it's going to be. I think that the financial collapse is coming. I think that's going to be something that we're going to have to be grappling with. But what I saw in COVID, what I saw in COVID was an attempt to lock down the majority of Western democracies across the country. And it was one of the most coordinated, sophisticated psychological operations I've ever witnessed in my life. I mean, they deployed the right, they deployed the left, they had all the messaging right. It spanned 2 presidencies. Trump started it. He handed the football to Biden. He continued it, right? It all led to the mass injection of hundreds of millions of people with poison, both in Israel and the US. And it was all so terrible. It was just terrible. It was awful. And they threw everything but the kitchen sink there. And it was bad. And I, even during that time, I would allow myself to think, how bad could it be? Right? Like, where they're deploying military martial law. They're really putting people in prison. They put you in prison for January 6th and a lot of the January 6th protesters, which was horrifying. But it was never as bad as I thought it was going to be. Right. And I think that that's kind of what I'm preparing for in the next few years, because I think the economic situation is going to get very bumpy, very bumpy. And they're going to use that. They're going to try to use it as another excuse to take everything and take all the land and enslave us in the digital gulag. So, what do you, as we close, what do you think about the future? Like, how bad could it get? What is on the horizon for the United States of America? And then, because at the beginning of the show, and this is what I like about you, you are a believer just like me. You believe that we can beat them. We can stand up for truth and justice. We can organize to take back our country, to take back our Constitution, to reestablish the Bill of Rights and our God-given natural rights. Like, we can run the bastards out of Washington, D.C., and at least for a moment deal with some of the corruption that we're seeing today. My question is, how bad do you think it's going to get? And what would you recommend everyone watching right now do to prepare for that, but then also prepare for that awakening? Because we're going to have opportunities as they take their mask off and they show us their hand. And I think it's getting more difficult for them to control. I think the rise of the independent movement is part of that. We're going to have opportunities, I think, to push back and to reestablish common principles of justice and truth and decency. But your thoughts on that as we close?
Well, I would say what seems to be their moment of panic here. And that's why you see all the mental gymnastics and propaganda about the Iran war and the economy and everything else. It seems like it's actually their moment of panic because they know that they only have so many number of years left stealing from us and enslaving us. And so it feels like they're trying to grab as much as they can before eventually this awakening reaches a critical mass politically. And hopefully we can just do this peacefully and politically and take our country back and get these ghouls, these soul-sucking ghouls, out of our political system.
Right.
So I think that we all kind of hope that's the case, but maybe they've realized that, and that's why they're trying to take everything they can right now before they're out of power. And I would say that's why I think there's probably going to be one more COVID-like event. I wouldn't even be surprised, or even I would think it's going to happen again during Trump. I mean, that's who they did it with the first time, was Trump.
Worked so well for them the first time, right, Owen?
So they're probably going to run it again with Trump. I don't know what that's going to look like, but it's going to be another giant transfer of wealth. It's going to be another attempt to assert authoritarian power. We'll see how it goes in time 2 around, and I'm sure they'll rebrand it some way, shape, or form. But, as far as, look, you can't, how do you give advice to people in crazy times? I don't know. You just want them to be informed that they can make good decisions on their own, really, is the best thing I think that you can do. And even though, and I try to emphasize this quite a bit, even though the news seems dark and, I'm even misinterpreted sometimes as being a black pillar or a doomer, I don't think that that's true at all. I actually enjoy life. I think it's my love and passion for life that makes me do what I do. If I didn't care about life, if I didn't care about the world, I wouldn't be so passionate about this stuff.
Right.
So no, I actually love life. I enjoy life. I encourage everybody to do that. And I would say, even though life is difficult and at times almost impossible, it seems, the whole system wants you to be depressed. The whole system wants you to feel hopeless and depressed and alone and isolated and dazed and confused. So no, you have to reject that. You have to reject that. You have to enjoy life. Life is worth living. Tomorrow is worth living. We can have a better future. So you don't want to fall into that trap of being, it's like you're on the edge of realism and depression. It's like we're walking that edge. We have to walk this edge every day, looking down into the abyss without falling over. But we don't. We don't fall over. We don't go into the abyss. We love life. Life is good. And so we remain positive, even though we are covering some news and some pretty dark times.
Yeah. I shot a text over to Marjorie Taylor Greene after Thomas Massie lost the Republican primary in his home state. And the first thing he did, he took his wife and they went on vacation and they took a picture on the beach. Their feet were in the sand. They went fishing. And I shot her a text. I said, that's what you need to do. That pisses them off so much. Like, go and live and have fun, live your life, fall in love, put your feet in the sand, because that's what they don't want us to do. They don't want us interacting with our families. They want to divide our families on political lines. They want to divide us from our neighbors and the people in our own community. They want to divide us black, white, male, female, left, right, old, young, and we just have to reject that. So I agree with you 100%. I think that's the best advice you could actually give, is that we have to go out and live and never, ever, ever give up. Ever give up. And never believe that we can't achieve justice, because we can occasionally in this life. So, Owen, thank you so much. This was such an interesting conversation. And I probably could have gone another hour with you, because you just have so much to say and there's so much to tackle. But I'm going to let you go, because I know you have a show to do. How can people support you and find you and, get locked into your community? Because as I mentioned earlier, I think that Owen is part of this larger independent movement that is going to be critical in securing liberty in the United States of America for the next 50 years, maybe the next 100 years. So tell everyone how they can support you, and I hope you'll come on again.
Appreciate that. Yeah, I'll be live in about an hour and 45 minutes. Going to start getting ready for the show, my final news aggregation process here. The Owen Report runs 3 to 6 p.m. weekdays. Sometimes we go a little over. And you can find us on YouTube, the Owen Report on YouTube, rumble.com/Owen, or I'm very active on X, Owen Shroyer 1776 on X. If you're a traditional audio listener, the Owen Report archives are on iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Spotify. And we do political play-by-play. We keep you informed on the news of the day so that you leave at least feeling like you know what's going on.
Love it. I love it. Excellent work, Owen. Excellent work. And hopefully we will continue, and you and I will be good friends for a very long time. So this was great. It was great to meet you. Thank you.
Thank you. Pleasure was mine.
All right. And there you have it, guys. Owen Shroyer. I told you that this was going to be a killer interview. He's amazing. And I learned a lot. Be my Valentine. Great to see you. Hey, everyone on TikTok. Wow, we're doing great. Over 10,000 views on TikTok and over 2,000 live viewers on the show today. Thank you, Owen, for being with us today. Hey, EFLJ, great conversation. Thanks, you too. Appreciate that. Swavek, great to see you on the live chat on Rumble. You guys all look fantastic. CJP, Rumble, great to see you as well. Very interesting conversation with Owen Shroyer. And I have an interview that I'm going to be doing in just about 10 minutes. So we have to wrap it up here on the Shannon Joy Show. Really appreciate all of you. Of course, thank you to our sponsors. Thank you to Owen Shroyer. Make sure that you're following him on Twitter and all of his platforms. And yeah, tomorrow we have Dr. Joe Sansone on the psychology of cults, political cults in the United States of America. I do think that a lot of us we've been so psychologically manipulated over the past 50 years and traumatized in so many ways by our own criminal, corrupt government, that we've allowed ourselves to be divided into political cults that have been used, so that they could, the people in positions of power are able to consolidate their power by keeping us divided. And we have to begin the process of finding each other and rejecting that type of division. It's okay to disagree with people about politics, but we can still be humans. We're not acting like humans because we're acting like cult people. And we're going to explore that tomorrow with Dr. Joe Sansone. He's a psychotherapist, psychologist, and an expert on the matter. In fact, he wrote the book on the psychology of totalitarianism, which is a great new book. You guys are going to love tomorrow's show. So TEP70, thank you so much. Great interview, Shannon. Owen is awesome. Clones, thank you as well. I appreciate you. LT Oracle of Truth. No, not redacted. Not redacted, a different platform. I'll tell you all about it tomorrow. And by the way, yes, I am going to be on Infowars. Speaking of Infowars, as you guys know, Alex Jones mentioned the Shannon Joy Show. He led his show off over the weekend with one of my clips, which was super fun. And it was the clip where we were blowing the lid off the data centers, telling everyone it's not about the data centers. It's not about compute. It's all about the land. They're grabbing the land. They're grabbing the water. They're grabbing the power. And I think the data center and the compute and the AI is kind of an afterthought. So he pushed that out on his platforms. And I am going to be not with Alex Jones, but with Tiffany Cianci. She does host a show on Infowars, and I'm going to be joining her next week. So I took your advice. And, listen, you know how I am. I am purely transactional when it comes to the people that I work with and collaborate with. And as long as you're on the side of truth and justice in any given moment, then I'm going to be happy to stand with you for truth and justice. And so many people, they change when the politics changes or when the person in office changes. We don't do that. Yeah, get Alex on and reciprocity, says Ollie Robin 9. I would love to interview Alex Jones. I have a lot of questions for Alex Jones, and I think that would be really interesting. So we will certainly see about all of that. So if you're watching right now on Rumble, please do me a favor. Thumbs up, follow The Shannon Joy Show, share The Shannon Joy Show, join us on the live chat, join us in the comment section. Same for every one of you watching on YouTube. We are growing the YouTube audience exponentially. It's small right now, but we are growing so fast and all of the metrics are there. So if you guys are watching on YouTube, I want to bring you guys into the context of the show more and more. I'm not able to read your comments because I'm self-producing and I can only do so many things. And I can only look at so many chats. And so I haven't been able to read some of your comments, but I do want to make a lot of room for that growing YouTube audience. So thank you for those of you who are watching on YouTube. Please follow The Shannon Joy Show. Repost all of my shows. That helps us with the algorithm. Thank you to everyone on TikTok. You guys are great. Amazing. We did fantastic. Over 10,000 views on TikTok. So we're getting up to close to 50,000 views a week. And that's pretty exciting. And of course, massive Twitter audience. Thank you to Owen Shroyer for retweeting this interview. It gave us access to his enormous audience on Twitter. And that was great. So for those of you who are watching for the first time, The Shannon Joy Show on Twitter, thank you for being with us. Again, comment, like, retweet, comment, like, retweet. That's what helps us to grow. So Ollie Robin 9, thank you so much for plugging me on YouTube. I really, really appreciate that. And Lou Melcom, thank you so much. Great interview. Well, Owen's a great guest. He's the kind of guest that interviews himself. I mean, he's just that good. Really talented guy. And I just love finding talent in people who have, they have principles and they tell the truth and they're courageous. Like, it's amazing to find these kinds of people. So thank you guys so much for being with us today. We will be back to do it all again tomorrow, right here on The Shannon Joy Show.